Welcome back, braggers. I'm going to break down really quickly the latest drama in Major League Baseball involving two former Dodgers pitchers, Trevor Bauer and Julio Urías. A tale of two suspensions, controversies, and some serious questions about Major League Baseball's disciplinary consistency. So let's just jump right into it. This should be a pretty quick one. Julio Urías, once a shining star for the Los Angeles Dodgers, has found himself in hot water again. Back in September 2023, Urías was arrested following a public altercation with his wife outside BMO Stadium in Los Angeles. Witnesses reported seeing him push and strike his wife, leading to his arrest on domestic violence charges. Fast forward to May 2024, and Urías pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor domestic battery charge, resulting in probation, community service, and mandatory domestic violence counseling. But this wasn't his first rodeo. In 2019, Urías was suspended for 20 games after a similar incident where he allegedly shoved a female companion. Given this pattern, Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred just announced on March 21st of this year that Urías would be suspended through the All-Star break, making him the first player to be suspended twice under Major League Baseball's domestic violence policy. This suspension sidelines Urías until July 17th, 2025, leaving his future in professional baseball hanging by a thread. And then enter Trevor Bauer, another former Dodgers pitcher with his own suspension history. Bauer was initially suspended for 324 games in 2021 following allegations of sexual assault, a suspension that was later reduced to 194 games by an arbitrator. Now, Bauer didn't take kindly to the news of Urías' comparatively lighter suspension. He publicly criticized Major League Baseball, pointing out the apparent inconsistency in disciplinary actions. And Bauer's argument is valid. How does a first-time offender like himself receive a harsher penalty than a repeat offender like Urías? I think it's a fair question given that Bauer was never really charged for anything, technically. Major League Baseball's handling of domestic violence cases has been under scrutiny for some time now. The league's joint domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy grants the commissioner broad authority to discipline players for violations. But the lack of clear guidelines has led to perceptions of arbitrary and inconsistent punishments. And some would argue that without transparent criteria, Major League Baseball's disciplinary actions risk undermining the seriousness of domestic violence and eroding public trust. Fans and commentators also haven't been shy about voicing their opinions on this matter. A lot of people are siding with Bauer on this, agreeing that the disparity in suspension seems very unjust. Others believe that each case is unique and should be treated as such, considering the specifics and evidence available. Regardless of where one stands on that, it's clear that Major League Baseball's approach to discipline is a hot-button issue that isn't going away anytime soon. So as Urías serves his suspension and Bauer continues to rehabilitate his image, Major League Baseball faces mounting pressure to revisit and possibly revise its disciplinary policies. The league needs to establish clearer guidelines to ensure fair and consistent treatment of all players, regardless of their star power or past records. But only time will tell if Major League Baseball can navigate these choppy waters and restore confidence in its commitment to addressing domestic violence within the sport. The contrasting suspensions of Trevor Bauer and Julio Urías are shining a spotlight on Major League Baseball's disciplinary practices, raising questions about fairness, consistency, and the league's stance on domestic violence. And for my personal opinion, which doesn't really mean much, but Urías, being a two-time offender, should have had a harsher penalty than a Trevor Bauer who really wasn't ever found guilty of anything. One of his accusers is facing jail time for their false accusations. So let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, I appreciate you listening and watching, or whatever you would call this. I will talk to you later.